Yo, what's going on? It's your main man, Rick the Dawn. And this video, we have to discuss something. I had this really cool idea, and I want to share with you to see if you agree with the idea. So, look, it all started in 2002. Two of the biggest artists did something that I had never seen before. All right, as far as the R&B side, the guy's name was R. Kelly. All right, he was the biggest R&B artist of our community, black community, and it was just like he's that guy. Across the board was Jay-Z. He was the biggest rapper at the time. 2002, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that was better than Jay-Z. They did something that was unprecedented. They brought their talents together and they created an album called The Best of Both Worlds. Me being in the 10th grade, about 16 years old, it was huge news. I was a huge fan of both R. Kelly and Jay-Z, and this was like a dream come true, quite frankly. The album comes out, and many of the critics pan the album. They don't like it. They're pretty much in disagreement about the album's quality. But me, being a 16-year-old, kind of in that age where you're trying to be impressive and you're doing your thing, you're talking to all the ladies, R. Kelly, you're trying to get money, Jay-Z. It was the perfect album for me, and I loved it. Fast forward 2 years, due to tons of complications and issues with both camps, they do it again in 2004. Jay-Z and R. Kelly come back for a second time to create the album Unfinished Business. Now, this album, I didn't hear it. I didn't listen to it. I think I had my feel. I was pretty much good with the first album. And by this point, I'm 18 years old. I'm not necessarily the biggest Jay-Z or R. Kelly fan necessarily. All right, I'm starting to kind of transition into a new era, a new time where, focusing on my own craft, stuff like that. Anyway, the point is, it was brilliant. It was brilliant then, and I believe there's space for it to be brilliant now. Now, before I go too far, I want to quickly steer your attention to my websites, my businesses, rickthedon.com, Vidmondo, a video sharing site, wordy.com, bhshirts.com, and I want you to check out my shoe. If you look at the descriptions area, you'll see what I'm talking about. But that brings me to the main point of this video. I'm starting to get a sense of something. You got Drake, and by all accounts, he's one of the biggest R&B artists on the planet right now. And some people would disagree and say, hey, he's a rapper. But for me, he's an R&B artist who raps. Then you have Kendrick Lamar, who is arguably the biggest hip hop artist on the planet right now. Essentially, they're the best of their worlds. What would happen, and we have to ask this question because what else is there to do? What would happen? What up, bro? QG in the house. Hey, by the way, if y'all don't know, if you look in the comment section right now, Boss Trap, that's my blood brother. Love him to death. And yeah, man. But look, what would happen if Drake and Kendrick Lamar were to bring their forces together and create a joint album? What would happen? It would, in some ways, fill in the gaps of both artists. There's a huge criticism of Kendrick Lamar being extremely sterile and focused on black issues and very conscious. Well, Drake isn't like that. And then there's a huge, what do you call it, line of criticism about Drake being, laissez-faire. He's not really focused on any social issues. Well, Kendrick Lamar would fill that gap as well. So in a sense, they would fill in each other's weaknesses, therefore eliminating their weaknesses combined. That is a huge situation right there if you think about it. Drake is hitting all the melodies and also joining in on the rap. Kendrick Lamar is doing his rap. Drake is not necessarily someone who can consistently out-rap Kendrick Lamar. We just saw that on wide display. However, Drake is someone who can give Kendrick Lamar a run for his money and even beat him on some tracks. You know how exciting that album would be? Like, ask yourself, how exciting would that album? It would be an extremely exciting album. It would be very dynamic. You would still have some of that fighting, that internal fighting on each track. I've done albums with my brother, for example, and it's just a natural competition when you're on a track with anybody. It's like It's very, very playful, but it's at the same, it's combative, it's competition, and it brings out the best in both artists. You know, me and my brother made an album called Chapter One, and man, it's one of the best albums because at the time we were both just hungry. You know what I'm saying? And we were both knuckleheads and just hungry. And if you listen to it, we're not battling each other, but we're competing because we're trying to outshine the other. And it just brought out the best in both of us. And that's what would happen, in my opinion, with this Kendrick Lamar and Drake album. Now, let me go ahead and timestamp this because I know how people they like to act like they created something. This is Saturday, February 15th at 2:12 p.m. That's when I'm saying this. And at this time, I've not heard a single person say that Drake and Kendrick Lamar should combine and create a joint album. Now, there are some obvious issues here. Kendrick Lamar has been very vocal about Drake working with other artists when he needs help, so to speak. And in essence, Drake would be doing that again, working with a black artist, which would definitely enhance his credibility in the black community, in my personal opinion. And then also Kendrick Lamar would be kind of being a hypocrite, if you will, by pointing out those things, but then going on to work with Drake. Some people will call that out. But you know what I say? I say, screw those people. This is a great idea. If nothing else, or for nothing else, do it for the same reason that R. Kelly and Jay-Z did their ventures, their joint ventures. I don't necessarily believe they were the best of friends. I think it was all business. And the point that I'm making right now is corroborated by the title of their second album, Unfinished Business. It was business. So fine, Drake and Kendrick Lamar are not the best of friends. So be it. Do it for the business part of it. Do it for the fans. Do you know right now, hip hop is like politics. You got the red side and the blue side. You got the Drake side, you got the Kendrick side. You got to pick a side. You can't have both of them. Well, this joint album would bring hip hop together, so to speak. And I'm not that invested where I care. You know, I'm all about good music. I don't care about this side, this side, whatever. Whatever makes me happy, whatever gets me in my vibe, I'm good with it. But for everybody else, it is definitely a divide in the game right now, and this will bring it all together. And I think I got to point out something that's extremely important that maybe I haven't said yet. When I was perhaps about 9, 10, 11, I forget, it was what, 1996, and I turned on the news. I'm with my auntie, and Tupac Shakur is gunned down. Not long after that, 1997, Notorious B.I.G. gunned down. How big would a Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. joint album would have been? That's the point I'm making. I'm saying that if we continue down the cycle that we're going on now, one of these guys is going to probably get hurt, if not by each other, by someone in the other one's camp. They're both very capable of making that happen or having it happen inadvertently. It's possible. So, I mean, I'm not someone who wants to see these people get hurt. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, for that matter. And I think that the battle has all but gone as far as it needs to go. And what happens is, if they combine forces, they get to double dip. Let's talk about the double dip. Let's talk about the double dip, damn it. First off, they've already monetized the beef. There's nothing much more to monetize. After the Super Bowl, that was the peak. There is nothing that Kendrick Lamar can say about Drake that will pique that particular interest level. It's just nothing else there. I mean, talk about scraping the pot clean. All right. Kendrick has scraped the Drake pot clean. There's nothing much more left there. So to continue to try to scoop out of that will make him look desperate, especially if Drake decides to move forward. Just like it's making Drake look desperate as he continues to talk about it. So at some point, you just got to pivot and move on. You know what I'm saying? Hey, now, I believe that situation is pretty much dead and gone. What could happen now, though, is they get the double dip and come back and show the other side of the situation. What I mean by that is, instead of killing each other, they can work together, dog, and make some money off of it. Look. Everybody loves a happy ending, man. If you think about it, every movie we watch, it starts off plain, it gets really, really, really bad, and then it gets good at the end. That's exactly what the Kendrick Lamar and Drake situation has been. It started off normal. They were kind of like throwing shots at each other. Then it went real bad, and then it got well, it can get really good. That's the point I'm making. I gotta read this, dog. Hold up. My brother said I wouldn't be the writer artist I am today if it wasn't for you. And likewise, bro, I'm trying to tell people, like, and I don't want to make this video about my brother and I, but it does have some similarities. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. When two artists that are very talented work together on the same track in hip hop, what happens is, and I've already stated it, but I want to state it a slightly different way. What happens is synergy. Okay, iron sharpens iron. And let me tell you something. My brother is just as good as me, if not better. And when I heard him rap, I said, "Oh, okay, that's how you coming. I got to make sure I get my mind right." You feel me? That's what's going to happen on this album if Drake and Kendrick Lamar are to join forces and create what we call synergy. They get the double dip. They've already monetized the beef. Now they get a chance to monetize the solution. What else is there to do here? Kill each other? Like, that can't be that can't be it. I'm gonna tell you why that can't be it, because many kids are watching. You know what I'm saying? Just like I was watching the Notorious B.I.G. Pac situation, there's many kids watching the situation, and we cannot forget about them. Unfortunately, hip hop always forgets about the kids, but the kids never forget about hip hop. It'll be a great exemplar to show that you can have a disagreement with somebody in hip hop and at some point fix the situation and make it something good for everybody. All right. Now, I know that doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound as good as Kendrick Lamar, this is Drake at the Super Bowl, or Drake, this is that. It doesn't sound like, good business. But let me tell you something. People love good news. They've never given us an opportunity to show that we love it, because it's always bad news. But anyway, if they decide to do this, it'll be a huge, a huge game changer. Let me know if you agree. Do you think that this situation has gone too far? They cannot or would never be able to work together? Or do you think that there is a slight chance that it's possible? And furthermore, if they were to work together and create a joint album, would you listen to it? Duh. I would listen to it. And that's very significant, because if I'm being transparent with you right now, trusting you with some information. I have never listened to a Drake album, and I've never listened to a Kendrick Lamar album. I hear what they put out as far as singles, and I like it, but that's as far as I go. Okay, if I'm in my car and it comes on, cool. If it don't come on, cool. It's whatever. If anything, I'm more transfixed with their characters. I like the way that Kendrick Lamar represents himself in hip hop. I like that. I'm not necessarily buying albums and stuff like that and listen to the full bodies of art. I just feel like I'm getting too old for that. Like, I don't listen. I'm listening to jazz and classical music these days. Drake, I like the way that he's transformed himself from the little, the kid from Canada to now he's actually being compared to some of the greats. I like that story arc. That's what I enjoy about him. But if they came and created an album together, I would have to listen to that. And this is the point I'm trying to make. It would bring back hip hop fans who are pretty much over hip hop at this point. That being me, I'm kind of over at this point. That would be huge. Okay, that would be huge. If they decide to do this, how is it possible? Somebody from Drake's camp, somebody from Kendrick's camp, watch this video, send it to them. That's one solution. Or, somebody get on the line or the jack with somebody else and just like, yo, let's consider this. And if that happens, man, I want my money, dog. I want my bread. I don't want it publicized. I don't want it to go to the news. I'm from Detroit. We don't do all that. Just send me a couple dollars via Cash App. All right. The $, RitchieKnox. It's a chocolate chip cookie thumbnail. Run my money. I want $1 million on the low. Nobody had to know. You feel me? Send my bread, because this is a great idea. And it's going to be worth billions of dollars, especially when they go on tour. The only thing that could possibly ruin this idea is if there's people within the Drake and Kendrick Lamar camps who are not the star players and have more benefit with them having friction. And as such, they do something stupid to the other side that throws off the entire agreement, because that's how peace treaties work. And that's also how peace treaties fail. It's like somebody on the other side does something silly and destroys the entire situation. It's happened several times in LA, right? Where the Bloods and Crips are finally starting to get to a space where they can kind of corroborate and work with each other. And then something happens and it throws off everything. It happens all the time in Chicago. All right, the GDs and the BDs, they finally get to a point where it's like, okay, we're gonna cease a little, and then somebody mess it up. So that's the only thing that could destroy this particular concept. With that being said, man, I'm out of here. Hey, QG, man, I gotta holler at you, bro. I got an idea. All right, till next time. Peace.